Hello students, Ms. Kellogg here with your Unit 7 review video. Start with our first question. What Italian Baroque characteristic does David by Gian Lorenzo Bernini exhibit? The sculpture engages the viewer by breaking into the viewer's space. Which is an accurate statement about Italian Baroque artist Caravaggio's approach to painting? Caravaggio created dramatic compositions that focus on realism. What innovative and extreme lighting technique did Italian Baroque artist Caravaggio use in his paintings? Tenebralism. Which phrase best describes a characteristic of the paintings of French Baroque artist Nicolas Poussin? The depiction of a narrative subject without an organized, idealized landscape. Which characteristic best describes a technique that Spanish Baroque artist Diego Velázquez used in his paintings? Velázquez captured many middle tones between dark and light to create structures and accent your color. How did Baroque artist Rembrandt of the Netherlands apply paint to a canvas? Rembrandt applied expressive strokes of thick paint by using the impasto technique. Which Rococo characteristic did French artiste Jean-Antoine Watteau use in his paintings? The depiction of aristocrats with idyllic landscapes. How did French artist Jean-Baptiste Simon Chardin use naturalist conventions in his paintings? Chardin depicted ordinary people and activities with a sense of realism. Which features of neoclassical architecture did Thomas Jefferson include in his design of Monticello? Jefferson incorporated architectural features seen in Greek and Roman buildings. Why is Liberty Leading the People by Eugene Delacroix considered an example of romantic art? The painting uses color, lighting, and movement to elicit an emotional response from viewers. What photographic characteristic did Louis Daguerre exhibit in the daguerreotype? The capture of a permanent image with non-tonal variations and fine detail. How did French artist Jean-François Millet incorporate conventions of realism and naturalism in his paintings? Millet depicted a scene from everyday contemporary life by using lifelike colors and solid shapes. Which of the following is a way that realist Winslow Homer made prisoners from the front more lifelike? Homer made preparatory sketches of actual soldiers on the battlefield and at camp. How did French Impressionists such as Claude Monet capture their impressions of a scene on canvas? French Impressionists used dabs of pure, vibrant color to show changing light and weather conditions. How was French Impressionist Edward Degas influenced by Japanese woodblock printing? Degas depicted scenes from an elevated vantage point. What post-impressionist convention did Paul Cézanne use in Mont Saint-Victor? Patches of color that define the objects in a carefully planned composition. What statement describes Vincent van Gogh's impressionist use of color? Van Gogh used bold color to convey emotion. How did symbolist Edvard Munch use line and color in The Scream? To express his feelings of fear and anxiety. What characteristic describes late 19th century sculptor Auguste Rodin's work? Rodin's work captures a sense of movement and emotion through surface texture variations. How did Art Nouveau artists such as Louis Comfort Tiffany use line and shape in their works? They used curvilinear organic lines and shapes from nature. Like many 20th century artists, the Fauves broke new ground. Which statement best describes how the Fauves ignored accepted conventions of traditional art? The Fauves used intense, expressive colors that are not realistic. How did artist Wassily Kandinsky incorporate characteristics of Expressionism and Improvisation 31? Kandinsky used bold, exaggerated lines and colors to communicate his inner feelings. Why is Still Life Le Jour by Jacques Braque an example of synthetic cubism? The painting depicts objects from more than one vantage point at the same time. How did Pablo Picasso communicate a political statement in Guernica? Picasso used fragmented, distorted shapes to convey the suffering felt during war. What is a distinguishing characteristic of surrealism as seen in The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali? Surrealist art is based on ideas from the artist's imagination and the subconscious mind. Why is American Gothic by Grant Wood considered an example of painting created in the style of religionism? American Gothic depicts rural, Midwestern values in a clearly readable composition. What characteristic of modernism did Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers include in the Georges Pompidou National Center of Art and Culture? Incorporating service features such as air conditioning and escalators as design elements. What modernist conventions did Henry Moore use in Mother and Child? Moore used abstracted, simplified, and exaggerated forms. What abstract expressionist innovation did Jackson Pollock exhibit in Autumn Rhythm? Pollock made the act of painting more important than the final artwork. What makes Estate by Robert Richard an example of postmodern art? Estate used images of American popular culture that people would easily recognize. That's all I have for you now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in class.